If you like the video, please consider supporting James Corp on Patreon.
I'm terribly excited. So.
Are you? That's good. Hi everyone, and welcome to this special one shot of Paul's Out of the. Oh, it's not just. It's mainly Paul, but there's loads of other people that in conjunction doing this. Out of the Ashes on Kickstarter. It's fully funded as well, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we're sort of zooming towards stretch goals, hopefully.
VVT, virtual tabletop support would be a good one, because then you don't end up with the same place that you're in with Liminal, where there's no character sheet support or anything. Anyway, I'm James Corp, and yeah, we're going to be playing in Paul's game of Out of the Ashes. I don't know what it's called. We've got characters. We're going to go around, get people to just introduce themselves, and then we'll hand over to Paul, who can introduce and tell us a bit about Out of the Ashes. And then we'll crack on, introduce the characters, and play some game. Plural, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So yeah, I'm James Corp. I'm generally the host of Chambers of Roleplay, and yeah, that's about it really. Sue?
Hey, I'm Sue. I'm frequently to be found on here appearing in one-shots. And I run a lot of liminal games, so I'm keen to see what else Paul has got for us.
Okay. J-Will?
Yep, I'm Joel. You can also frequently find me here in one-shots or occasionally longer games as well. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how it goes as well. Read me up on about how the system works, and I'm intrigued. So, yeah.
I haven't read anything, Paul, because I'm coming in as I'm the audience, right? I'm the audience. I'm the person you have to describe.
We've got to sell you on it right over this.
Well, no, I've already backed it, but you know, you need to like explain it. Jesse?
Yes, I'm Jesse. I'm a frequent player in these wonderful games, and I am actually in this game because there's a wonderful game called Liminal that you should really check out, and this is apparently the same system, and I'm very excited. So,
is it the same system?
It's a development of the system, so there's differences. You'll see that in play. So I'll explain that as we go.
All right, and Paul.
Okay, I'm Paul. I'm the perpetrator of this tenaciety. So this is my game. I'm the GM, and it's my Kickstarter. So I hope you all enjoy this.
Cool.
Okay. So let's go. So I probably should say a little bit about the setting. So the idea of the setting is there was a massive war with an entity called the Nameless Emperor in a sort of magical fantasy world. The Nameless Emperor has been defeated, but it was pretty costly. The world's a wreck. The monsters who were serving the Nameless Emperor have overrun things. There's people who are tainted and corrupted from the touch of the Nameless Emperor. Much of the land is also tainted and corrupted. It's horrible. What you've got is a lot of scattered communities trying to make themselves safe and actually trying to rebuild. It's a human world. They're the only real intelligence or real species there. So you're all from different human cultures. So one of these cultures, so let's go through the different characters. So I'll go through the order I can see in my screen. So J-Wall's culture is Alari. So again, they're humans. They're the oldest civilization around. No more Alari are born, but fortunately the ones around, they don't age, they don't grow old. But there's very, very few of them left. Then there's the Akeli, who I think, James, you're playing one of those.
Yeah, I'm in the Kelly, yeah.
And they're basically people who, most of them, live in hollow hills in the forest. are sort of away from other people. They're starting to realize to survive, they're going to have to make contact with other cultures. And some of them have even moved in. They're uprooted from the Hollow Hills. And you're one of the people like that. Then there's the Nisians. So the Nisians are wanderers, traders, actually sailors. And they, for a period of time, served the Nameless Emperor. And the current Nisians are almost by custom of renewal going to join other communities and actually make up for the sort of things their people have done. And finally, there are the Vespans. So that's Jesse here. The Vespans are, fairly militaristic. They're probably the culture that's come out best out of the final war. And portions of Vespa are trying to build up their empire again that they had before the Nameless Emperor struck. You are in a community called Dassos, which was a Vespan outpost during the final war. It's basically a place of observation and a place for troops to withdraw into safely. During the final war, lots of people were displaced. Numbers of people came to Dassos, including a lot of Vespans and actually a lot of Ekeli. And that's really all you need to know to start with this game tonight. Okay, so shall we introduce people's characters? So let's go in reverse order. So Jesse, do you want to go first?
Sure. My character is Alexandros. I am actually from Dassos, and I serve the Lady Irulian Doka.
Yeah, who is the one of the two co-rulers of Dassos. So there's a Vespan and a Ekeli ruler. And
myself, I am a ranger. I'm somebody who scouts and protects the I guess city of Dassos.
More like small town, but yeah,
the town of Dassos. Then.
Yeah.
I'm personally, I've been here long enough to where I respect just about anybody, but I don't like the tainted. I don't like the.
Oh, no one likes the tainted. That's just sensible.
Oh yeah, but I have like a prejudice against it. So
yeah.
And other than that, I'm just I deal mainly with like animals and like what's outside, not what's inside. So
yep, sounds good. Okay, Sue, do you want to go next?
Okay, I'm playing Idolin, and I'm a messenger. So my primary job is delivering news to Dassos, but I'm also fond of songs and stories. I'm Nisian, and I came to Dassos as a part of a Nisian custom. I've been to a few places before, but this is the place where I feel valued. And I spent some time working with road wardens, learning stories from them, and generally I like to bring news and stories back to Dassos.
Okay, so thanks. And James?
I'm playing Alwyn, who is a survivor. She survived a slaughter in her home, called Hollow Hills, and she was the only one that managed to get out alive from what happened. And she's for some time she's been hunting these, what do they call them? Corrupted? Tainted? These tainted, is it? I assume she's hunted tainted creatures. And she basically had a death wish until she come across a club of troll. Oh, she was clubbed by a troll, I guess, and some hunters found her, brought her back to a village called Dassos, where she was healed, and she's actually sort of discovered there are other Ekel here in Dassoff and has decided that this is her new home and that she no longer has a death wish. But she still wants to hunt these corrupted creatures or tainted creatures. Because she's a seeker. She seeks stuff.
Yeah. Okay, and J-Wall.
Yep. So, I am Arochiga, an Alari Lightbringer that, for them, is quite young, at just 200 years old, give or take a bit. He has a duty to prevent Dassos plunging into ignorance. Their current lawmaster is a bit frail, getting on over years, but I believe that is something I can help with.
What, help them on their path to dying, or just help them to stay alive a bit longer?
No, we'll help them pass on the knowledge and maintain it so that Dassos doesn't pass on into ignorance. I took a minor part in the final war, and by some miracle, managed to survive both the battles and the purges. I'm definitely surprised to still be alive, and slightly worried I may have outgrown my usefulness, but hopefully by helping Dassos I can prove I am still of use. I also have a love of fine cuisine, and I am an excellent chef, so that's the most important thing, really.
Yeah, that's the most important thing about your character, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's their favourite food?
Just started right and ended with it. What would some appropriate food be?
Make something up, I don't care.
Sunlight. Let's see.
Sunlight? That's what plants eat.
Just sunlight. Sunlight salmon. My favourite. I can cook it to perfection.
Just poached, just so. Yeah. Okay, so now I want some salmon, but let's not get distracted. So I suppose I should say a few words about the system. So I'm going to pick a little bit on Alexandros here. So say I'm testing one of your skills. Say I'm testing sort of athletics. What I'll do is I'll call out a target number in advance. And you roll 2d10, add your skill, and try and get your target number or higher.
Okay, so
and I've somewhat automated that on Roll20. So if you click on skill test,
you might not have it. Jesse, go over to the collection, which is a dot, a line, and 3 of them in a row.
And click show macro quick bar.
And then click the macros.
Okay.
That'll be the easiest way to get the skill checks up.
And then there's nothing in the macros.
Yeah, just look. If you look in the macro section, you can put them in the bar. There's a tick box in the macro section.
Okay, so there's a okay. So
yeah, it only does it for me, unfortunately, not for everyone.
Well, actually, now that I've enabled it, I can put the skill tests. I'm trying to check and see what other.
The others are just single dice rolls, and so less important. I mean, I find them convenient, but you might not.
Well, I just wasted a fucking roll, didn't I?
D8, D10. So the D8 D10s are the ones that I'm going to check on there.
So another thing I should say is that would be a good roll for 2 reasons. So if you roll doubles, if you get 2 dice matching and succeed, that's a critical success.
Yep.
If you succeed by 10 or more, so you roll 10 or more than you need, that's also a critical success.
And what happens if you get both? It's
a really good critical success.
Oh, so it's not
So
critical success.
In combat, for example, you'd ignore armor and do maximum damage.
Ooh.
So you can manipulate your dice rolls. So you've got a resource called Spirit. It's a limited resource. If you spend 3 points of Spirit, you get a bonus d10 to your dice roll.
How much?
1d10. 1d10.
No, but how much spirit do you have to spend?
3.
Okay. What's the thing? What's despair? That doesn't sound good.
We'll get to that in a moment. But
Okay.
Back on spirit real quick. So what happens if you spend a single point of spirit?
if you spend a single point of spirit, one thing you've got on your sheet is keys. So you've got 3 keys. So for Alexandros, it's calm, death, and wilderness.
Okay.
If you've got a key that applies, you can spend 1 point of spirit to get a bonus d4.
Okay. Okay.
You won't always be able to do that, but probably in combat, for example, you can always be able to use death. You could also get a sort of special effect. Just use your imagination linked to the key.
Now, if I
So
spend
everyone is a tiny bit magical.
but if I spend 2 spirit, does that mean I get to roll 2d4 as a bonus?
You can only do it once, unfortunately. You have to
So
go
it's either
up to 3.
1 or 3.
1d4 or 1d10.
Okay, got it. So d4, d10. Sorry, I missed that.
The last complication is you've got drives, a duty, and a passion.
Mhm.
Over the course of the session, you can get 1d6 spirit back when you engage a drive. So just say, hey, doesn't this drive apply here? And if it does, you get 1d6 spirit back. You can use the same one twice or each one once, I don't care. You can do it twice over the course of the session.
Okay, so basically, of the drives and keys, or the drives, it's duty or passion. So if I'm enabling any of that, I get a d6 back.
Yeah. So if you're basically attacking the tainted, you could easily get a d6 back.
Okay.
If you're doing something bold to defend the Lady Iralanduka, you will get, of course, you could also get a d6 back. And the same goes for, the rest of you.
Excellent.
If your spirit goes down to 0, that's when you start accumulating despair. Some effects could cause you to lose spirit. If it goes to 0, you're in trouble. I mean, the good news is you immediately get some spirit back, but you've got a point of despair, and over the course of the game, despair has lingering effects, and it never goes away. So, you're best off not going into despair.
Yeah. So okay.
Okay. Any questions on the system?
No.
And as you can see, it's pretty simple, I hope. And as you can see on your character sheets, you've got various talents. So if they apply, just say I'm using my talent and we'll use them. Okay, so let's start playing then. So what happens is you're happily in Dassos when actually a minor noble comes to visit from Vespa with an escort of half a dozen soldiers, again from Vespa. And she goes straight to sort of the tower where the Lady Iralanduka resides with her lord. And Iralanduka, she makes an announcement that to everyone here, which is very, very strange sounding. She is saying that, this noble woman, Assessor Xanthippe, she has come to Dassos from the city of Vespa and she has come to appraise Dassos's resources and to take back to Vesper that which will be useful to Vesper. There will also be direct appointment of a governor from Vesper. And she is looking very, very unhappy about that. And there are shouts of protest in the streets, especially from the Akeli, who make up about half the people here and frankly are not Vespans. And she says, I urge you to remain calm and to cooperate. Meanwhile, of course, you're called in by actually the Akeli Lord of this place, Lord Rain.
How far away is did you say Vestin?
Hundreds of miles away.
Right, and what benefit? And what benefit do we get for like giving them? Well, I guess that's not been like.
Yeah, I mean,
disclosed.
You don't know. This is a very, very good question, and the sort of question that other people are asking. Yeah, they are not happy. But Lord Rain, who's Lady Ireland's husband and actually one of the Akeli, he calls you in. And
All
says,
of us?
All of you, yeah. And says, I do need your help here. Dassos needs your help. This is really not a good situation for us. I mean, we do get some support from Vesper, but nothing that warrants this. So, I hate to do this, but I mean, especially, well, you Alwyn especially. I know that some people sort of, especially among the Akeli citizens, they're going to be over the top in their protests. And I find that completely understandable. You know, I and they are not subjects of Vesper. But I need you to basically talk to them, try and get them calmed down. There's another thing I'm hoping that we can do that's more clandestine, if you're willing.
All right, and what's that?
So I'm thinking some of these resources, especially our armaments, especially our food stores, we need those to survive. And Lady Irulan will be keeping Xanthippe occupied. I wondered if you could arrange to, well, hide them from view. And then he's looking actually to Alexandros in particular. Are you on board with this? Okay, so yeah.
Do I think it's going to like is this going to like hurt the lady's influence in this? I mean, is this really going to affect
the
her?
whole situation is going to hurt her influence? Yeah, because I mean, the people here, as far as they're concerned, were concerned, they're here for Dassos, not for Vesper. She's here for Dassos, not for Vesper.
I'm down with it.
Yeah.
I mean, just anything to protect the city because these people don't care.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is everyone on board with this?
Well, yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's a ridiculous situation.
It's utterly ridiculous. I agree with you, Olwen. I agree with you fully.
Well, I'm here to serve Dassos.
Thank you, Idolin. You are Aaron Shiga.
Wouldn't want the city to fall into disrepair.
Good. Then we're agreed. So, I mean, like I said, the Lady Irulan is going to work her magic, as it were, and keep Xanthippe occupied as long as possible.
Okay. Where do you want us to hide the food and stuff? Do we have any warehouses we can store it at?
I think for that's where we're coming in. So, in terms of hiding things, you're probably going to have to find someone willing to hide them. Actually, you in particular, Olwen, can you give me what's the best skill here? Probably law. Can you give me a law test, please, at difficulty 15? Let's get some dice on the table.
I've got 16.
Perfect. So one place that would certainly work would be the Akeli just outside the walls of Dassos, have a hidden hunting lodge.
Right.
They're also pretty unhappy about the rulers here, so that'd be one place to take them.
Well, we're going to have to...
In terms of finding out where the protests are, I mean, it'd be a case of asking around. I mean, there is a sort of tavern here, the Running Wolf. That might be one place. Yeah, you could find out if there is any locus of making loud protests. Because, of course, if they're protesting too much, that would accelerate things and probably make them think even more. Hang on a sec, these guys need to be brought under control.
Yeah, but we could also use the protests as a cover.
Yes, you could.
Because we may want to run some distract. Because if we're going to smuggle this food out, I mean, it's going to be a lot to smuggle out, right? So we're going to need to, smuggle quite a few shipments out. So if we've got some protests going on, it might just be for a period of time that we're doing it. It could just then depart once, disperse once we're done with the moving the goods. Maybe we could storm the capital.
I think we should do is maybe find one of the merchant companies that are sympathetic, and maybe have them just, carry the goods that we need to the hunting lodge, and we just escort it like a caravan.
Is this something that we could get the road wardens to help with?
They're a good week or so out of the sort of city, out of Dassos, I mean.
So probably couldn't find them in time.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'll say you can do, all of you, is you've got these people mentioned as contacts. What you can do at any time is invent another contact. So the suggestion of finding a sympathetic merchant company or road wardens, or even someone who's in town who could take things out, that is something you could do.
Okay.
Okay, I want to use two of them.
Go on.
I want to know Gord, who's going to be from the hunting lodge. He's part of the Brotherhood of Elks.
Yep, so Gord, a Kelly from the hunting lodge, yep.
And Sebastian from the Dassos Trading Company. I want to see if they can get together and maybe help us move all of this without having to, attract too much attention. That's all. Those are the people I think I could probably contact, because I do a lot of the hunting in this area. So
Okay. Is everyone happy with that plan? To use Alexandros' contacts?
Sure.
Yep, makes sense.
So
Then the buck ends with Alexandros.
yeah, it's all down to him if it goes wrong, absolutely. So
Well, you guys can like get cover from the. We can because you said we can use the protests as a cover, and there's other facets of this. Oh,
Okay. So while Alexandros is going towards his contacts, what are the others of you doing?
I think as seems to be traditional in your games, we should go to the pub.
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the local tavern. These scampi chips are really tasty.
Yes. So you go to the tavern, order 10 packets of scampi fries.
And I'm going to listen to see what people are saying. See what
Okay.
rumours are flying.
I'm
This
gonna make a
sounds
contact. I'm gonna. Oh, sorry, sorry, Sue. Go ahead.
So this sounds like an insight roll.
Okay. That's 17.
Okay, so you overhear, well, you hear a few things, and one of them, of course, is starting to talk to you because you seem likely to be sympathetic. So they're saying, well, yeah, so it's definitely actually those in the hunting lodge, actually, who are most angry at Vesper and at the assessor in particular. And one of them saying, you know what we should do? What we should do is capture Xanthippe, hold her to ransom. That will solve the problem.
oh,
What do you think of that?
That sounds a bit dangerous.
But it's risky, of course.
We might end up starting a war.
There's 6 soldiers with us. We're a long way from Vesper, and they need to realise that.
Thing is, if she doesn't come back again, then, well, they might show up with a bit more than 6.
I think I'm going to want a dice roll for you to defuse this thing. Because this guy talking to you, he's getting more and more convinced. This is a great idea, actually.
Right, so what skill is that going to be? Is that persuade?
I think it's persuade, isn't it? Yeah.
I seem to be reasonably persuasive. That's 19.
Oh, heck, he's saying, no, you're right. It's far too dangerous, isn't it? Far too risky. We'll just get lots of people out for a really loud protest.
It's a silly idea.
Just show what we think of them. Do you think so? I'll win. Well, I think so too. I don't know who it was who suggested it. It was a really silly idea, wasn't it?
It sounds like you're going to escalate the situation and make it far worse than it is. Maybe just do some small, peaceful protests. At these specific, I'll get you some times when it's be best for to do it.
Okay. I mean, if there's some, and one of them sort of he's lowering his voice, saying, "Are you planning something? You're planning something, aren't you?"
No, what gives you that idea?
Don't worry.
on board. Get them to distract. Give us a distract.
You're not there. You're talking to your contact.
Yep. Okay. So, Alexandros, meanwhile, you're talking to your trader guy first of all. I think you've gone to see him.
Sure. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Alexandros, my good man. Whatever can I do for you? This is a bit of a to-do going on here, isn't it? I mean, it might be good for trade. I wonder if they'll commission my caravans to take the valuables back.
You have caravans in town right now.
Well, 2 carts.
Oh, but and how much does that carry? Just curious.
Oh, that will carry several hundred bushels of food, and I could probably carry about half the town's weapons back if they're taking those. Not sure that's a good idea, but they might do.
I like the way you're thinking here. What about, what if some of us decided to move the food as well? And some other important stuffs that Dassos needs that the Vespans don't. Just curious?
Okay, so there's two ways you could do this. You could either basically persuade him to help for the good of Dassos, which would probably be a persuade test, or you could draw on him as a contact, in which case you'd just be rolling D4. But if it's a 1 or 2, he's saying, this is the last favour I'm doing for you. And you've sort of burnt him out as a contact.
You know what? I've got to try to burn him out.
Okay, so give me a 1d4 roll. Okay, so he's saying, I'll do it, but that's a risk. I'm sorry to say this, my friend Alexandros. This is absolutely the last risk I'm taking for you.
Acceptable. I'll try to make sure that your people are covered and that no trouble befalls them. Just thank you. And
we'll see. This time you owe me.
Fair
so
enough.
He's doing it. He's just not very happy about it.
Okay. And then I'll go back to see my companions and let them know that I successfully
Well, we're eating scampi fries in the pub.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
Yes, scampi fries are obviously a thing in this fantasy setting. In any game world I'm involved with, clearly they're a thing, right?
They do sound tasty.
Well, in this setting, there might actually be fried scampi.
Yeah, it might actually just be scampi and chips.
I wonder if Arid Shiga could probably come up with something like this. With his
Get me the
cooking.
ingredients.
Yeah, it's a specialty. In fact, it's not scampi fries. It is sunlight
salmon fries.
Sunlight salmon fries.
Yeah.
Yes. They're quite tasty.
Can I make a contact?
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to invent one, or do you want someone who's already there?
I can invent one if there's not one there already. I've got
that's already there. Would be Eswen of the hunting lodge. If you want someone in the hunting lodge.
No, I was thinking someone more of a someone within the Kelly population.
Yeah, so probably Eswen again.
Oh, okay. Someone who despises like authority coming in and waving their cocks around.
Again, this fits Eswen.
Okay, well there we go. That's my contact then.
Like that. So you've got Eswen at 1d4 basically. So she is of course fulminating when you see her. Absolutely frothing at the mouth about this.
Is she in the pub as well?
What are bastards doing? How do they have the right?
They don't have the right,
It's
but
our place, not theirs.
they perhaps have got. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I'm sure they threatened.
They must have done. I mean, what gives them the bloody right to do that?
Well, they're a bigger city, aren't they?
Yeah, but come on, might makes right. That's not what we're about.
I know, but we're going to have to.
I thought we all learned our lesson from that, from the final war, from the bloody war against the nameless bloody emperor.
True, but
Should know better now.
But we have a plan, which I may need your help executing.
A plan. I like the sound of that. So,
However,
all when you always were one of the clever ones. So.
however, peaceful protest. It needs to be done peacefully.
How peacefully? I mean, we won't shoot anyone.
It just needs to be that the eyes need to be on you or on the crowd, while the eyes aren't on us. I'll lower my voice and say, like, we're going to make some things disappear that Vespin doesn't need, but we do.
Nice. So again,
and then once they've pissed off, sodded off, they will bring it back.
No, this sounds quite good to me. Okay, so she's half convinced already. I think I probably, unless you think another skill's better.
Well,
you could either do it from a contact to burn her out.
I want to.
It sounds like you do. Yeah, go on.
So what I want to establish with her is that it's got to be non-violent. It's got to just be noise, and that's it. Nothing aggressive, nothing violent. We don't want Vesper. Is it Vesper or Vespin?
It's Vesper, yeah.
Vesper. Oh, okay, James Bond. We don't want Vesper deciding to send an entire army because we've pissed them off. We just need them to basically run a protest of some sort, just a loud protest, non-violent. Has to 100% be non-violent. Everyone needs to be kept in line. It just needs to be. We need to arrange times so that when we're shipping the carts out of the city, that is when the protests need to be happening, to basically draw the attention of the guards, and basically the eyes will be on them while we're moving shit out.
Sounds good. So I think I will need a persuade test, but you've already established a lot because you don't have persuade. You can do it at it will only be difficulty 10.
Sure. So what do I do? Is it just I just got
It'll
no
just
skill
be
in it?
10 in this case, we've got no persuade skill. Yeah.
I got 11.
Yeah. So barely, but she says, "Let's do this. Let's make it happen." Okay, so you're getting the pieces lined up here. So really, we're talking about two things to do. It's a case of moving the food and moving the supplies, moving the food supplies and moving some of the weapons.
Sorry, can I? Sorry, I know this is going to be a waste, but can I spend a point of spirit to do always prepared, and I hand her a plaque that says "No to Vesper" or whatever?
Yeah, I like that idea. Actually, you've got something like brilliant. That's a good moment. Yeah, no to Vesper.
I can't spend spirit. I can't edit the cat sheet, Paul.
Oh right, that should be let's sort that out then. Sorry, I've just. Right, should be there now. Should be editable now. So I'm just going to do the others.
I spent 1 point of spirit. I know it was a waste, but I just thought it'd be Funny.
It's not a waste at all. It's fun.
Maybe even a flyer as well. Maybe a flyer for her to like go and print and like hand out to her followers.
I think you've probably got a few. You've probably got probably got a dozen or so flyers, right, to hand over. You've done, you've used your flashy effect. You've got that ready. So very, very good. Okay, so next thing would be, again, you've got carts arranged. You've got process arranged as a viable distraction. It's now a case of fetching the things.
Well, I do want to make sure that before we actually enact the plan, that we all go to the lady and make sure that she puts people that are good along the route to where nobody kind of regards or political people, important people, kind of go, what's that doing? Just making it safer.
Okay, so of course the lady Irlanduka, you do have a sort of, I suppose, a special friendship with her. Yeah, exactly. And she says, okay, I don't need to know the details. I like your thinking. Let's do this. And says, I think after tomorrow, the guest is really, our special guest is going to want to have to inspect everything. So if you can do it today or tonight, that would be really welcome.
Then yeah.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Yeah, just making sure. So.
What's J-Wall doing?
Who's J-Wall?
What's Arid doing?
Keegan.
How long ago was the final war?
About 10 years ago.
About 10 years ago. Okay, not that long then.
No, so everyone is going to remember it.
Well, except 9-year-olds.
Well, yeah. Okay, all of you are going to remember it. Because I believe all your characters are over 9. Indeed, I mean, let's go a bit further. I reckon they're probably over, I don't know, they're more than 12.
So, during the time of the final war, I suppose the Vespans were trying to maintain what they had.
Yeah, I mean, they did absolutely come out in force in the final battle. And to be fair, the Vespan Emperor did die in the final battle. So did most of the armies. They did do their bit. But it was kind of last minute.
So were they reluctant to get involved?
They were reluctant to get involved. I mean, partially because the Alari were pretty much wiped out. The Kethians, another culture, were all entirely captured. They were almost the last to join up.
Okay. So I too would like to make a contact.
Okay.
We'll say this contact is called. He's called Ibir.
Yep.
And he is. What was the name of the one that came from the from Vespa?
Xanthippe.
And they came with a few other
Yeah.
ones as well, yeah. So Ibir is one of Xanthippe's guard, I suppose.
Yeah, that makes sense.
During the final war, I was at Vespa for a brief while.
Yeah.
And got a close friendship with Ibir.
That makes sense.
Perhaps even, depending on how events unfolded, may have not saved his life, but maybe protected his son for a brief while. I wasn't really fit to be on the front line, but I was still there protecting a lot of the children. And so he owes me a debt, effectively.
Yep.
And so I probably have a means of, well, considering he's in Dassos, I probably have a means of contacting him.
Yeah,
privately,
absolutely.
even if it's just shooting a sun ray.
He'd happily, would say he'd happily share a drink with you. I mean, better still, he'd share a meal with you that you've cooked.
Yeah, but he probably wouldn't be too welcome in the tavern, I imagine.
Yeah.
So we probably need to meet elsewhere. But I mean, I'd imagine he knows I'm here, and so we probably meet maybe where I reside in the city.
Yeah, so I
And-
think it's probably our case. He comes to where he resides, knocks on the door and says, Arad Shiga, my old friend. Oh, what you're cooking, that smells delightful.
It's my specialty.
Oh,
Sunlight salmon scampi.
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
No, I immediately give him a plate of it.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Poison.
Quite convenient that you're here. I have a favour to ask. So
I'm
I
listening.
need you to not ask questions. But in the event that what was the name again? The person that
Xanthippe.
Zanvipe. Okay. Yeah, in the event that Zanvipe comes to inspect our suppliers in the next day or two, around. Think sec. Don't want to be too broad. I suppose everything is in this general area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, would you be able to keep Zanvipe away for as long as possible?
I can do that. Now give me a 1d4 roll.
Okay.
Unless you want to do a social skill thing. Sounds like you're calling on a personal favour.
I'll do a d4. 4.
Yeah, I mean, he's happy. He's saying, he's munching on your salmon scampi. In a very good mood because of that. It says, yeah, anything for you. Horrible business that I had to come here like this. I mean, it's a rum do, isn't it?
Find out
Definitely.
Find out what the business was. Find out.
Ooh, good idea.
Yeah. Actually, little voice in my head's just telling me. So, why does Vespa want it? Like, why is Vespa here to take control effectively? What's happening?
To be honest, it's politics in Vespa. Always bloody politics. So, I mean, it's not so much the supplies, that's not the main thing. It's this governor who's been sent to take over. So he's been sent by Prince Auroros, who's the character's the cousin to the Empress. And he's been sent here to actually take over. But between you and me, the governor who's appointed, munching away, he's not even that keen on the job. I mean, he's been heard to say, look, the territory between here and Vespa's wild. Dassos is better off independent.
Yeah, it's incredibly far away, and it seems like there's no real benefit.
No, so I think it's a case of his family's tried to persuade him it was an opportunity or something, but he's reluctant. Even the governor. Well, I suppose we'll see what happens there when he gets here. Hopefully I'll be stationed here, he says, munching again on his scampi. Okay, time for a break, James?
Yes, please. All right, we'll be back in 10 minutes, so don't touch that dial.
Excellent.